Again, guys, this is just my opinion. Who the hell am I?
To shoot at this point.
But this is a shoot now. Okay, whatever. This is more fun. This is just my opinion. The number of days when you're holding an independent championship, for me, always feels a little weird. I'd rather go by the number of title defenses. In independent wrestling, you're blessed to run a show. Now, granted, some of them are blessed to run weekly. Those promotions probably not. You know, they play it like it works for them to run a monthly, bi-weekly, bi-monthly even, you know. So, like, I don't really get caught up in the days. I get caught up in the title defenses and who I was working to, you know. So the quality, I get more about the quality than the quantity, if that makes sense. That's been my entire career.
So Lil Evil is in the program with us, and we've had so many conversations over this time. And honestly, like, and I mentioned it, it's a rarity because we do tend to talk a lot off the ring with these conversations. So this may be a different experience, but to go back into the beginning, being trained under Pops with the APW, how much of the experience that you've had as a wrestler shaped into who you are today?
Well, I wasn't trained under Pops.
What? Okay.
I wasn't. Like, and not to discount the many lessons I've learned from Ray Campos.
Yeah.
Shout out Papa Don, because he's taught me and showed me so much in this business. And sometimes where I thought I was right, I was clearly wrong. And he was like, yeah, I told you. So he's always been that guy. But no, I was trained under George De La Isla.
Okay.
He was the original owner of America's Academy Pro Wrestling. And, you know, I was only with him for probably a few months. And then you know, he sold the school over to Pop. And at that time, I thought, okay, I need to get on the road and learn my craft. So, like, I got a good grasp of the fundamentals and hit the road, man. And eventually I came back.
Oh, okay.
I talked to Ray. I talked to Papa Don, and he put me like 2 to 3 months through the program and kind of was like, here's your graduation.
You got to the
yeah, right.
You speed run.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's a whole story in and of itself. But yeah, I as much as I would like to claim Ray, he didn't train me, but I have learned a lot from that man. And honestly, a lot of people should go to him for advice. He knows a lot. So
what was the ones that stand out to you?
The lessons and
Yeah.
stuff?
I mean, it doesn't have to be like really deep, but like the stuff that made you had a eureka moment.
With with that man, it's usually like
Is it hit hard? Because everyone's been telling me that now.
no, it's
Okay.
it's not that it's hard. It's
Okay.
just I don't know how to put it into words because like if you didn't go through it with him, if you haven't had the conversations with him, it's hard.
Right.
Because it's not one of those things. He's an old school guy, you know.
Right.
So like a lot of my old school values when it comes to wrestling business and all that stuff go through him. So probably that, just how to conduct yourself in business, how to believe in yourself, how to protect yourself. I think those are probably the 3 of the biggest things he's taught me.
Yeah, because like what's interesting, because I've been watching a training because I re-announced for a period and seeing how much of the students are learning a lot what it takes to be in the business. For you to impart that knowledge to the younger guys, what was it like just to at least teach them, hey, don't do this, or be careful when you do this spot? Like, what was it like? Fascinating information.
Okay, so man, I don't want to talk your ear off and like not answer your question, but like you kind of need to understand more fully where like I came from. So
Yeah.
like I said, I wasn't in that class, that Papa Don class, before he came back to the school.
Right.
Took over ownership. So a lot of the guys, God bless them if you're watching this, no heat or anything, but a lot of the guys, they just beat me up, dude. You know? Yeah,
That's a lesson right
guinea
there.
pig, and I would walk around with a chip on my shoulder about it, and you know, they would just like perpetuate a lot of things and whatnot. But you know, it wasn't until you know, God bless him, but ACH rolled around and you know, saw me setting up rings, saw me setting up chairs, saw me do all this stuff.
So like pay your dues.
Yeah, he saw me pay my dues, and one of the biggest things, like, he kind of took me under his wing a little bit, more, not a little bit, kind of perched me up there a little.
Yeah.
You know, so one of the biggest things he told me was just to always pay it forward. So whenever, you know, Papa Don asked me to come help out at the school or something, that's always been at the forefront of my mind.
Yeah.
I don't claim like I know everything. I don't.
Everyone learns. I mean,
Yeah,
it's always a
and
work in
so-
progress. I mean, I've been doing this for a year. I'm still figuring. We had a disconnect on who to get taught by the AV. So like,
Yeah,
it's a work in process.
That's
and-
all it is. So like anything that I could, it's just my opinion at the end of the day too
Yeah.
on this whole thing. But it's always at the forefront of like, well, this is how the business continues. This is what you're supposed to do. If this advice helps you, hey, awesome. If it doesn't, that's okay too, man. You're gonna continue your journey either way.
Every
So-
insight's like different for every person.
yeah. But at the end of the day, it's just about paying it forward and just not expecting anything in return. So, I mean, most of the people, I'll say it. Most of the people that I've like helped out, and most of the people that like bugged me or I bugged them about wrestling and stuff, they're doing amazing things. So,
Yeah.
not that I have anything to do with it. I think it's just
They
something in
left
the.
something.
Well, I'm saying there's something in the water of that school in particular that Pop has a lot to do with it. Warsaw and Lawrence have a lot to do with it because they're the trainers there now. So like
Yeah.
anybody, the graduates that come and help out, like I don't know, there's something in the air, I suppose. But,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I think the elephant in the room, hopefully, I'm not sure if this is found out yet, but
Mhm.
having a friendship with Ricky Saints and how did that friendship start?
You said there's an elephant. I see no.
Why is he looking?
How did it start?
Yeah.
Well, okay. So, like I said, when I first started, God bless the people that were at APW at the time, but they, I didn't really learn a lot from them. Like
it's like I mentioned on our pre-production, it's an open space. There's no right or wrongs, and this is.
I'm gonna say it. I don't care. I give them monkeys. I give them monkeys. If they want to talk to me about it, they can. But I did have an attitude too. So like, I just want to get there and learn how to bump, learn how to do everything in wrestling. And I
Right.
felt like, being a smaller guy, they kind of took advantage of that. God bless them. I mean, there was a few people that really tried to help me out.
Yeah.
Just because it was the right thing to do. But it wasn't until around, like I said, the ACH, Ricky Starks at the time, Jojo Bravo at the time.
Oh yeah.
She was known by Alley Cat back then, but Alley Catch, Christy Janes, Cody Lane, Ethan Price. I could go on, but
Yeah,
that group
but the
of
list is
that group of people, they would come by the school every so often and take me under the ring. So the first time I met Ricky Saints was actually it was at an Inspire show. It was my first Inspire show. I showed up to set up the ring, set up chairs, and then one of the bookers, Max Meehan, he looked at me. He's like, "Hey man, can you keep time?" And I froze up. And there's another cat named Steve-O Reno. Shout out Steve-O. Was behind him, and he's like, "You know how to keep time." So I was like, yeah, I can do it. So it was at like this old basketball gym, and they had like the actual scoreboard time. So I had to figure out how to do that. And as I was setting up, Extra Talented was right next to me. Aaron Solo, Ricky Starks, setting up their merch. And this is that's how badass they are. They weren't booked. Yeah, they just set up their merch at this show to sell gimmicks. Yeah, and I won't forget that I'm scrambling to set this timer up, and I'm like, okay, I think I got it. And I felt these eyes on me, and I kind of look up like this, and there's Ricky. He's kind of looking at me. I'm trying to look at the camera, but he's looking at me like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It's like you. What are you looking?
exactly. And I'm like, hey, how are you? And we chopped it up for a little bit, but then just kind of snowball from there. Like, paid my dues. I didn't want to bother him too much, but friendship.
Yeah, no,
He's a good guy, man. I dig him. He's awesome, man.
It's interesting. I'm gonna bring this up. That's been stuck in my head.
Yeah.
When I was doing the rundown, there was a story. I think you gave him happy birthday on Instagram. And it was Ricky trying to get gas, and it's basically like I'll just say here's the gas tank, and here's the gas the gas the gas whatever
Pump, yeah.
the pump, and then like it's like a few like meter away. And
It was like a good 10 feet away.
all right.
Like the length of the gas
Oh.
supply just
so long.
stretched out.
Like that's the thing about like having that friendship, and even though you were laughing your ass off at that point, that was
Yeah, well, to go into that, man. So it wasn't a happy birthday. It was right after he won the North American title.
oh, okay.
And I'm not the. I wasn't raised. God bless my parents, but I wasn't raised in like a positive, masculine environment. Let's put it that way. I'm old school Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with 4 brothers, and it was just machismo all the time. So I'm not the friend that's taking photos. I'm not the friend that's posting we're over here hanging out. It's more of like, hey man, what are you doing? Let's chill. Let's go somewhere. And I saw a lot of people posting about Ricky that day because obviously they're very proud of him and stuff, and I was very proud. And I messaged him, told him I'm very proud, but also I wanted to share a moment that we had that was special, that made me laugh.
That's the guest.
And there's thousands of other moments like that, but yeah, that was one where I was like, okay, people will get a kick out of this, to see it. And
I was laughing. I was like, because I was getting ready for that. I was like, you know what? Interview. No, but to have that friendship blossom and see him succeed. I mean, I was part of sharing the success of Ricky Saints, like having that close friendship with him. What was it like seeing his success, and then how can that be translating it into yours?
Oh man, you said this one get heavy, man.
I can go from brook to ocean, dude.
Yeah, dude. So I'm gonna try to be as real as possible without blowing up his spot. But one of our first like road trips out of state, because back in the day, but like when I first started coming up, you still had to hit the road. You still got to drive 12 plus hours to a town and more for the next town, and then come back on a Sunday for like a local show and stuff like that. So we were on one of those loops, and one of James Blake. I don't know if you heard James Blake.
Yes.
So one of his albums had just dropped, probably the one that came out in like 2018, 2019, somewhere around that. And it was overnight. It was probably like 3 a.m. Me, him, are in the front of the car. Everyone else is sleeping. And we were just talking about life and, listening to this album. And he was really, he never thought of quitting, never. But at that time, the pressure was very real from everybody. So, again, I don't want to put out his business too much, but it was one of those real moments every wrestler has where it's like, not that you're considering quitting, but you're just kind of looking at everything realistically.
Right.
And, he had a few of those moments, and I never claimed to be a good friend or anything, but I'm happy that I was there for him.
You're supported. But
yeah,
supported
I was
happy
I was there for him, and even through all the other stuff, it's just like, hey man, it's gonna work out, and he always believed it was gonna work out, and it's working out. So, it's very, very inspirational. He's one of my favorite people. So to see him achieve his dream, and I want him to achieve more. It's awesome to see. Yeah. It's awesome to see.
Because, especially, you do have success, but does it mean, so that prior question isn't just like, you're like, oh, you're down the wayside, but you've had your share of success in having championship gold. And I think I want to bring this up first, too, because, both your Inspire Pro and your Lucha Brutal come and take a championship. Brutal, sorry, I got called out.
Yeah,
it's in that same span. But let's go run that back, because I've never seen Lucha Brutal. Run that promotion with us, and what was it like getting that championship?
So, man, okay.
I'm going there first.
You want me to be truthful, or you want me to?
Let's go for it.
Okay. Fuck yeah, dude! You're gonna get some ratings out of this. So, first of all, the guy that ran Lucha Brutal, he's a great guy, man. He had the best intentions at heart. I think, he just tried to keep up with the Joneses, and there was other outside factors that I shouldn't get into or whatever, but it didn't work out. So at the time, though, it was a fresh promotion in the Dallas area, and it was really, them and then Sword Championship Wrestling. Shout out.
I think
Jason.
Sword's the only one that's left.
Shout out Bobby. Shout out everybody over there. They really, when I first started cutting my teeth, they gave me the platform over there.
Right.
So Lucha Brutal was one of those promotions, and I was thrown in as a favor. I think maybe for Ricky. or maybe it was Albert.
Right.
One of those. I was thrown in as a favor in a multi-man match, and no plans for me at all. So, but they saw my work and started getting the ball rolling on everything else. Man, they took a chance on me, and I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even have like real gear. Prince Adam was like just a street guy. He pretended to be drunk, Paracho and all that stuff. So, that it really meant a lot to me at the time that they took that chance to give me platforms to hone my craft. Now, the Come and Take It championship, I can tell you about the night I won it. And I'll never forget it because it was a small tournament style thing, and in the finals, it was me and Nate Bradley. Shout out Nate, who's an amazing, amazing wrestler. When I went up on that, I just knew that I had so much work to be done, and that this is a brand new title, and I need to establish it. I need to prop it up, and from here on out, every match that I have, not just for the titles or whatever, it's going to be better than my last one.
Right.
I need to elevate,
Because to have that 300, it's like 340, I have to look at it, it's 342 days. To have that span of time, how much, I always see this to champions too, how much does trust play into having that length of time as the commentator?
Can I say something about that, though? So I always feel weird. Again, guys, it's just my opinion. Who the hell am I?
It's a shoot at this point.
But this is a shoot now. Okay, whatever. This is more fun. But this is just my opinion. The number of days when you're holding an independent championship, for me, always feels a little weird. I rather go by the number of title defenses.
Right.
Because in independent wrestling, you're blessed to run a show. Now, granted, some of them are blessed to run weekly. Those promotions probably not. They play it like it works for them to run a monthly, bi-weekly, bi-monthly even, so like I don't really get caught up in the days. I get caught up in the title defenses and who I was working to, so the quality, I give more about the quality than the quantity, if that makes sense. That's been my entire career.
I can see that too, where there was another, I was looking through another guest, I'm like, how many days has this champion been? I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
Right. But then you, no shade at anybody else, but like I've seen that myself, and it's always like, oh, you've only defended it 4 times in 1,000 days.
It's just the number of times that you have to defend within that span.
Granted, the opposite's also true. Like maybe they're 1,000 days, but they defended it like 200, 300 times. I don't know.
That's a lot of titles.
That's a lot of. They're doing the thing, but. For me, I'm always like, just how many times I defended it.
Okay,
I
haven't thought of it. Blew my mind. Tying that is the Inspire Pro Championship, and this is under Inspire AD at the time. And shout out Victorious. I will go to their shows one of these days. I've been so busy, but to have Inspire Pro, and you've had such a very interesting defense. Besides like Shambashi and Will Alday, shout out Will Alday. You've had Kevin Knight, you got Robbie Eagles, and to have those two guys who are calibered with New Japan, what was it like working with someone who's made it to the big leagues in Japan, but like to be in that level of competition wrestling?
Again, this might rub people the wrong way. I don't care. But to go back to previously when we were talking about Mr. Saints, you had mentioned something about being friends with someone that's an immense success, not to discount what I've done, right? I just don't look at it like that.
Okay.
And I love Kevin Knight. Obviously, he's tearing it up right now. Robbie Eagle's a prince, like these guys that I've learned so much from them. But at the end of the day, they're in my locker room working me. So it doesn't discount anything they're doing. It's not that I view myself on any kind of level or whatever, but what it is that I just don't get caught up in the name value too much.
Okay.
And I'll be completely honest with you.
No, and
there's only one reason, because like Danny Orion says it a lot, and I get it. It's fine, but when people think of like going to different area codes, different states, traveling, and all this stuff as a metric of success. Like, okay, hey man, if that's what you want, great. It's not what I want. I've always been about the craft And as pretentious as that sounds, it's just
No, but
who I am.
sense your creativity.
Yeah, it's just who I am, man. And I know that I can be there with those guys.
Okay.
It just required way more sacrifice than at the time that I was willing to give. You know, especially last year, right before I got hurt. Not to bum anybody out, but
Oh, we'll get to that.
But what I'm saying is that I will never take away those times that I spent with my dog, who is no longer here. I will never replace wrestling with those times with, like, my dad, who was very sick last year. I just personally look at it and be like, yes, this business requires sacrifice.
Right.
It requires all of you. It requires you to be obsessed with it. I recognize that. I didn't cross that threshold, and that has withheld me from opportunities. And I know that, and I'm okay with that. And I can sleep good at night. Plus, dude, anytime I can help, Vert out, if she needs to go over there, I'll be like, hey, do your thing. I'm here. I'll take care of what you need. Yeah, I'll not necessarily sound like, but like, I'll take care of this right here. I don't want you to worry about this. You worry about that. Get your job done.
Right.
Come back. We'll reconvene and stuff. So that part is what I give most about. It's what I care most about. So to answer your question, I did learn a lot from those gentlemen. But at the time, my body was failing me. And I know it sounds like an excuse, but I know for a fact now, if we were to run those matches back, it would be 10 times better, for sure. For sure.
What I was thinking too, and thanks for bringing that up, because like oftentimes like everyone's creativity is different with what how they approach things in the ring, and to see where you're at the time. Where's my phone? Come here. At the time where like where your worth that's what it means.
Yeah, I mean, I know my worth. And, you won't catch me on every show. And it's not that, I don't get reached out to, or I don't reach out to them. It's just, I don't want to waste anybody's time. It's, I want the fans to know that when they see me on a flyer, I'm giving everything that I got. I literally gave my body to it. Yeah. So I just care most about that aspect of it, rather than promotion or name value. It's the wrong way of doing it, by the way. This ain't the right way. If you're looking to make money, don't follow this. This ain't it. Because it's the same reason why I don't do merch. I don't feel right about the ticket prices, them coming to see the show, and then me asking them to pay for my shirt or whatnot. I much rather, I don't know, paint something. What do you got? $2? There you go.
Yeah.
I much rather that, than anything else, and them to watch good wrestling at the end of the day.
Exactly. Because like what I was thinking too, you and being in United210. First of all, thank you for having content in that promotion for a while. Thank you. I appreciate such Sash Roblev.
My boy.
But what was it like? Because I know you've worked with Stash in a span of time. What makes United210 special?
Well, they know exactly what they want to be. I think, again, not to blow up their business or spot too much, but
we're giving them flowers.
Yeah. What I'm saying though is that
all right.
I feel like in independent wrestling, overall, not Texas or whatever,
right,
but just overall, when they start a promotion, they're trying to be the next ECW, GCW, like bigger independent promotions, and they just focus on making all this money. And you should, but that's not why people buy tickets.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So I think why that promotion feels so special is because it's for the gente. It's for the people. It's for the South Side,
right,
and the Barrio knows that, and they feel that, especially Stash is from that neighborhood.
Yep.
So, and that's all he cares about. He just wants the neighborhood to have a place people go and party, they can eat, see wrestling, hang out. It's much better than them getting into trouble. So like I really hope they work everything out when it comes to the city and everything like that. But I'm not exactly worried, because that spirit is still there.
Yeah, it's like it feels like it's a comma. It's not a period.
Yeah. And every independent company goes through that.
Yeah.
And either you fold up and leave, or you continue on and you get to going, dude. So I'm not worried about that at all, you know,
Yeah.
because the community's behind him. Stash is so strong. Rob Love is so strong mentally, and I really think it's only a matter of time till this all works out. You know, I ain't worried at all.
Yeah, because like nothing was when they had the news. I'm like, man, I mean, they'll come back. It's just a matter of when. And I posted it on Instagram where, like, he literally just said it. Like, United 210 is far from dead. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh
Yeah.
you sense like the I wouldn't say urgency. What will be a better word for that? You sense like
I mean, we ain't
the
gonna let
passion.
5-0 tell us what to do, man. So we're gonna figure that out. It's all good, you know. See, here's the thing: City Council was going to the shows beforehand, so
Well, we'll
being
talk
real
about-
here.
exactly.
Yeah, sheriffs and all these people going to that show wasn't a problem then. So
Yeah, 'cause every wrestler faces injury
Mm.
one way or another. And I'll make it short because we are pressed for time. What are some of those lessons that you've gone through leading up to the announcement?
some of the lessons that I've learned was that, you know, as mentally tough and as physically tough as you think you are, you're not. People romanticize the comeback a lot because they only see the ending of it, but they don't see the journey through it. And you know, I just think that I thought I was a lot tougher than I was, but I wasn't. And there was times where I'm like, where'd my heart go? You know, I would just lay there and be like, I don't want to get better, you know?
Right.
But with that being said, you admit to it, you tell people, you get help. And that's exactly what I did. And not that I'm perfect or back to where I was. I'm feeling great, but it's an everyday struggle. You know, they don't tell you that part. And I feel like we should talk about that part more. You know, it's tough. It's hard on your mental health. It's hard on your body. It's hard on the people around you. So it's cliche, but you know, there's always a way out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't really get into any more about that without getting too deep. But yeah, that was the biggest
Well,
thing.
I was gonna ask that too. Like, how much of a support system that you've had going through that injury?
A tremendous one. But I didn't. It's up to you to realize it. It's up
Right.
to you to say, "Hey, dude, you got all these people around you." Because
Yeah.
as much as I didn't think so, there was. And yeah, I mean, down to people just calling me or calling Vert every day that I didn't even know about, you know. And it's not just people around me. I mean, the people around you, you'll figure out
Yeah.
who's got your back and not. But also people that I don't even know, but they're like, you know, we're talking about positions in the business, but they're like legends, and they're like on TV every week. I hardly ever talk to them, and they're
It's
checking up on
immense,
me. Yeah, you know, it's crazy. I was like, wow, where did all this love come from? You know,
Yeah.
so that's it. You know, once you realize that you're loved and you're worth something, don't matter what's in your head. You know, it's gonna get better. So
Because it's been a couple months. I think that was in October or November when you
Yeah.
had October. Okay.
oh, September.
Oh, September. Okay, gotcha. Okay, September. So September happened, and we are now in May. But we'll go back another couple months back when the announcement that says we'll hear from Lil Evil get announced, and leading up to you going up in the ring, that must have been crazy.
Yeah, very crazy. Very crazy because I quit social media. I went radio silent, and you hardly saw me at shows. I didn't really hang around anywhere, but
Right.
yeah, it was very very nerve-wracking, if you could say so.
Yeah, to go out though, because it's interesting. Because I was taking photos, and when Fedicera came out, and I literally marked out. That's
Thank
that's
you.
one of my favorite ring entrances because
Yeah.
I'm a big
It's awesome, dude. Big
Deftones
Deftones fan.
fan. But to go out and shaking people's hands, and to go out to announce it, you kind of left everyone in suspense about the announcement because
Yeah, a
the
little
way
too
you
long.
set up, it's like, all right, thanks for the support.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do all that, but like to say that I'll say that I'll go PG. This F everybody. I'm coming back in the ring. To say that and hearing the reactions from everybody, what was it like hearing that crowd one more time leading up to that city?
I didn't think I'd get that kind of reaction ever again. You know, there was times where I was at shows, and I just hear the crowd, and I look at my peers, and I'm like, man, it's incredible that they can do that. That people care about them. I don't think I could do that. I don't know how to do that. You know, so to get that kind of reaction, I don't know, man. I just savor it. I try not to think about it too much, rather than just feel the feeling.
Like the initial reaction, you were like, "Holy crap! What was that?" Like,
I mean, in the moment, dude, it felt like, I don't know. I felt this fire. Really, as cliche as it sounds, it wasn't really like, oh, okay, I got them. It was very much of like, all right, let's go then. You know,
Yeah.
it's time to get back to work. But yeah, I mean, you gotta understand, dude. Like, I literally was like growing up on those streets when I was a kid, and just looking at everybody. And this was when Austin was actually weird, not what it is now, you know. But you know, just cutting my teeth down there, learning some of my biggest life lessons on 6th Street, 7th Street, Red River, you know, all that places where I shouldn't have been when I was a kid. But you know, just to have them wait for the word and be silent and hear, you can hear anything, dude.
yeah.
And then when I said what I said, they erupted. It's just incredible. I really hope and I pray that every one of my peers experiences that one day.
I was there, and I'll pull the curtain back because we're gonna go full
That's not
conversation. But like for me, I was watching the entire announcement, and you kind of left me hanging at the first. I'm like, all right, is he good? Is he good? When you mentioned the announcement, I was like, I welled up. I really welled up. Say that, man. I was like, wow, okay, because I've been really waiting for that for that match next week at Bat City. But to hear you say that I'm coming back, and that kind of welled me up because like you overcame so many obstacles to be in this point in your career, to bounce back from injury, to now facing Danny Orion next week at June 1st. This is a different interaction because you've faced him before.
Mm-hmm.
What makes this interaction, this match, so different than what you faced with him in the past?
It's different because it feels very personal now, man.
Okay.
And I wish I can get into as to why, but it's not my place to say.
Yeah.
Listen, when Danny Orion first came around, I knew that he was something special, you know, and I hate to be that guy because let's be honest, Danny put in the work. He bet on himself. He knew what he had, and he never cared what anybody thought. He just grinded, you know. And I saw a lot of myself in him. I still see a lot of myself in him, and we grew really close, man. You know, just in terms of the journey of the business. You know, maybe he feels like I sunned him. Maybe he feels like I little broed him a little too much. But this is just me being honest, man. I haven't talked to that dude since before I got injured.
Yeah.
And I thought that maybe I hear something after my surgery or something when I first started coming back, but I didn't. And you know, that's all right. You know, you open your heart to people. You don't expect anything in return, and it doesn't discount the fact that it still hurts a little bit, you know. So, hey, man, he wants to be mad at me for stealing his moment. Yeah, good. That's exactly what I wanted. You know, I wanted something out of him because I got nothing for months. You know, and we known each other for years.
You're slowly like really roaring back leading up to next week too. So it's like a lot of the heat that's happening is when you started coming back. And I think going back into the Texas League tournament when he won the entire thing, you were face to face. I kind of sensed the tension. You sensed the tension between you and Danny. So besides putting yourself over, what are you looking forward to in this match next week?
Like I said, man, I just want to feel something. I want to feel something from him. If it's hate, it's hate. Good. I want him to hate me. If it's whatever, I don't care, man. It's just something, man. It don't feel good. It don't feel good. Uh, and after the first win, lose, or draw, I know the better man is going to win.
Right.
And I'm enough and I'm secure enough in myself that if I lose, I gave it everything. Yeah, it's completely
You
fine.
gave your effort to that point.
Yes, 1000%. Because here's another thing that nobody really knows is that when I wrestled him 2 times before, my body was failing me. I wasn't rocking. I had injuries. Those aren't excuses. I still gave 100%, but now I'm a injury free. I'm putting in some of the best training sessions I've ever had with, not for nothing, people that know what the hell they're doing, know what they're talking about, and I'm very confident in that. But when it comes down to me and Danny Orion, as far as I'm concerned, there is no me and Danny Orion. And if that's the way he wants to play it, that's fine. But he also has to recognize that the only thing stopping me from ever hurting him before was the fact that I loved the kid.
Right.
That's not stopping me now. And he wants to say that, I want to claim to be his trainer, take credit. Well, I don't care. I don't care about all that. There's many conversations behind the scenes I've had with people that make decisions that asked me about him, and I said, pick him, when I could have easily said, not him, pick me.
And it's almost, and that selflessness goes along with, and I sensed that from the promo where Danny was kind of like, hey, it's all me. All the reverence goes to him, and you're just there because you recorded in separate spots too, if I remember, with that promo.
Oh yeah, he was across town, man. Like I said, other than seeing him across the room at shows, haven't talked, can't even be in the same room. And luckily he wasn't in the same room, man. I would have smacked the hell out of him for saying that stuff about Vert. I'm sorry, I don't vibe with that. I don't vibe with that kind of stuff.
And the boundaries at that point too.
Yeah. We worked through all that stuff in the contracts and my people, his people, and all that stuff. But he still wants to say that kind of thing. I don't care. It's fine. It's fine. Because for me, the time for talking, the time for this kind of stuff, press conference, whatever you want to call it, it's done, man. I'm focused on the first. I'm focused on beating him, and I'm focused on moving on after that. Because regardless of all the disrespect of anything he's ever said to me, feels about me, or whatever, he can yap all he wants, but he doesn't hear me say that he is the best. Right. If his gripe is that people deny him, I have never once denied him. I have never once turned him away. Right. I have always put him first when people asked me about him. And I even told him, dude, if there was ever a decision where you had to pick you or me, who would you pick? And I'll tell you this, I don't care. He hesitated. I almost smacked him across the face, because I'll tell you why. Because do you think me just all those late nights talking, me giving him all this stuff, us running training until we're like we can barely move, was to make me feel good? To make me feel like I'm doing something? I don't care. I don't care about that. I want him to succeed. I want him to achieve his dreams. But, obviously there's some personal issues there that he doesn't want to work through. He wants to get, Danny Orion's name bigger than it is at the expense of me. And if he feels a type of way about that, that's fine. Either way, I don't care. On the first, I'm I can't cuss, right?
Carte blanche.
Okay, yeah, I'm fucking him up. Okay. I don't care. He's gonna need everything, all those little cheap tricks that he likes to do in matches, everything that from gimmicks, whatever, man. I don't care. It's not gonna end in the ring. It's gonna end on the outside. I don't care, dude. I don't care anymore. And like I said, I'm not gonna discount the fact that it hurts that I lost one of my good friends in this business because of the business. But if that were the case, everybody that I've helped, everybody that I've been there for and are achieving their dreams don't feel the same way about me. Why him?
Right.
Maybe he'll tell you that. I don't know. But either way, on the first...
It's your side of the story. Yeah. So that's what it is. And there will be another side to it. We'll see what Danny has to talk about that. But on the first, it's gonna be interesting because it's been a really fun ride having you Texas in Austin, and to have you on and this one and only time we will disclose that you'll have to headhunt him to ask for anybody. I'll end this conversation with this too, and with the journey that you're going through, and knowing what you're going through in life. If you were in that same room as that teenage version of you, what would you like to talk to him about?
It's gonna be all right. Hey man, it's all right. It feels like the end of the world right now. It's not.
Yeah.
You know, mess up. It's okay to fail. Don't beat yourself up too much about it, because you're gonna fail a lot, and you're going to go through a lot of things. And yeah, man, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get worse. Either way, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
And just recognize that even though it's usually in the bad times we say that, it applies to the good times too. And I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned. So that's what I would try to impart to Lil Evil. Lil Evil, you know, is that this too shall pass. I'm gonna be all right.
Because I'm going to end this conversation here too, because we do have, and I mentioned it at the front end of this episode, we've had so many conversations. You were one of the linchpins in this podcast. And we talked, I mean, you had your own podcast in your own time, but fate happened. But the one thing that stuck with me the most is keep going. And we were at APW at the time, and you're like, yeah, just keep going. Like, I had 75 episodes, maybe you'll have more. I'm like, oh, shoot, what didn't I think of that? So by the time I really pursued the podcast, I did some ring announcing. I had to leave just to focus on this. That really stuck with me, is to keep going. And you're one of the support. You're like the linchpins in how the podcast came to be, because like the way that you carry yourself, the way that you do things in the ring, I translated that in how I do things in the podcast, to be prompt, be professional, to be to be very, very tactful in everything. I'm learning this right now, watching D&Ds, but to show an example. And it is flowers. I mean, flowers for really helping this podcast, and you mentioned it too, where you're like, yeah, you're everywhere. I think we talked about it in passing. You're like, yeah, you've been everywhere. You went to Houston, you went to Corpus.
Yeah, I feel like every show I'm like, oh, he's over there. It's cool.
So, but then I really appreciate that. And
anytime.
Yeah, and
I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, we never. That's the thing with interactions. At times you won't know until someone tells you, and I'm telling you right now with the podcast. And
thank you.
June 1st, we'll be at the Empire and Control Room and Garage. Danny Orion and sorry, let's flip that script. Lil Evil, Danny Orion. I forgot you're the guest.
I don't care. It's on good.
Either way, so many other matches.
Either way.
Besides that, and we will legit end this conversation. We're gonna do socials, but you know what? Hype us up on Monday. Besides, your match with Danny.
Okay, works for me, man. I mean, wait, you want me to shout out my socials or whatever? Or what do you want to do? What do you mean?
If you want to segue it.
Oh, a segue into that. I mean, I think it's Evilito on Instagram. It's pretty much all I got. You know, really, if you want to talk to me, you want to get to know me, message Vert.
Again, this is a one-time thing. I think that's the only access I'll ever.
Well, we were talking about it before the podcast. I don't do these interviews. It's not that I think myself highly of it. I like my privacy.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Like to keep things close, you know, and mainly because it's my life. And if you want to get to know me, I'm not a good communicator. No, obviously.
You're communicating right now.
What I'm saying is, like, I don't really talk good. The only way I know how to communicate is through my expression, and if that's through my art, whether it's painting or music or wrestling. I just hope that people recognize that, and that's pretty much the only voice I really choose to rely on. So, you know, if you want to get to know me, see me at a show, just come say what up. And
we'll be on the first.
Chop it up.
Yeah. It's going to be on the first. Hype us up.
June 1st is going to be, you're going to see two dudes that are handling some personal issues. And I'm sorry if it gets ugly. I'm sorry if it gets a little uncomfortable for some people. But Danny Orion, man, everything that you're feeling, I hope you bring it in the ring and we can sell it and handle it like men, no matter the outcome. Dude, I take that back. I really do. That's not how I really feel. I feel hurt. I feel betrayed. I feel forgotten about. And you hurt me. So I'm going to hurt you exactly how you hurt me. No matter the outcome.
Okay. Awesome. So we'll end our conversation here. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back with our finale for the AAPI Heritage Month special. And for those who are watching or listening here on Spotify, YouTube, and on iHeartRadio, we're on to the next one.